Dear students of class 9th, I am your maths teacher and I am sharing a topic with you, that is compound interest, part 1, without using formula. Sometimes in need, we borrow money from a bank or some other agency doing financial business. In general, the money is borrowed for a specified period and has to be returned at the end of that period. At the end of the period, we pay the money borrowed plus some extra money for utilizing the money of the lender. The money borrowed is called the principal and it is denoted as capital letter P. The extra money is called the interest which we pay along with the principal at the end of the period and it is denoted as I. The total money paid to the lender at the end of the specified period is called the amount, that is capital A. So, amount is equal to principal plus interest or A is equal to P plus I. Interest. Interest can be found in two ways: simple interest and compound interest. Simple interest. Interest is said to be simple if it is calculated on the original principal throughout the loan period, irrespective of the length of the period for which it is borrowed. Formula: SI is equal to principal multiplied by interest rate multiplied by time divided by 100. Compound interest. Money is said to be lent on compound interest when the interest, which has become due at the end of a certain fixed period, is not paid to the lender but is added to the sum lent. The amount thus obtained becomes the principal for the next period. This process is repeated until the amount for the last period is found. The difference between the final amount and the original principal is the required compound interest. So compound interest is equal to final amount minus original principal, that is CI is equal to A minus P. The difference between simple interest and compound interest will be clear in this example. For simple interest, in the beginning, if we take principal as 1000 rupees, then for the first year, rate is 10%. So according to 10%, interest will be 10% of 1000, that is 100. At the end of first year, again the principal will be the same, that is 1000. For second year, rate is 10%, that is 10% of 1000. Interest will be 100 rupees. And at the end of second year again, the principal will be same, that is 1000. For third year, rate is 10%. So again, interest will be 100 rupees. That means at the end of third year, interest is 100 rupees for third year, but the principal for the next year will remain same, that is rupees 1000. So in this case, for every year, the interest is same, that is rupees 100 for first year, for second year, as well as for third year, and so on. In case of compound interest, if we see, at present there is no interest and principal is rupees 1000. For first year, rate is 10%, so interest is rupees 100, that is 10% of 1000. At the end of first year, interest is 100 rupees So amount will be 1000 plus 100, that is principal plus interest, that is 1100. So at the end of first year, the amount 1100 will become principal for the second year. So now the rate is 10%, interest is 110, 10% of 1100. So at the end of second year, amount will become principal plus interest, that is 1100 plus 110, that is 1210, which will become principal for the third year. In third year, rate is 10%. So interest will be 10% of this principal, 1210, that is rupees 121. So amount will become 1210 plus 121, that is 1331. Now if we will go for fourth year, then for fourth year, this amount will act as principal. So in the same manner, the compound interest will be increasing. So from these examples, it is clear simple interest and compound interest for the first period remains same. Here also for first period, it remains same, that is rupees 100. Simple interest remains same for all periods of time. For all the years, it remains only rupees 100 in case of simple interest, but compound interest increases with the next period of time. For example, here in first year interest was 100 rupees, second year interest 110, and third year interest 121. Now some examples. This question is based on the fact when the compound interest is compounded annually, that is per year. Calculate the amount and the compound interest on rupees 6,000 in 3 years at 5% per year. For first year, principal rupees 6,000, which is the original principal given in the question. Rate is 5% per annum. Time 1 year. So interest will be equal to principal multiplied by rate multiplied time upon 100. That is rupees 300. So amount for first year rupees 6,000 plus interest rupees 300, that is rupees 6,300. So this amount at the end of first year will act as principal for the second year. So principal is equal to rupees 6,300, rate 5%, time 1 year. So interest again PRT upon 100, rupees 315. So amount will equal to principal plus interest, that is 6,300 plus rupees 315, rupees 6,615. Now this amount will act as principal for the third year. So for final third year, principal is rupees 6,615, rate 5%, time 1 year, interest PRT upon 100, that is 6,615 multiply 5 multiply 1 upon 100, rupees 330.75. So amount at the end of third year will be rupees 6,615 plus rupees 330.75, that is equal to rupees 6,945.75. Hence, the compound interest is equal to the final amount minus original principal. Final amount is 6,945.75 and the original principal is rupees 6,000. So, the compound interest is equal to rupees 945.75. Find the compound interest correct to the nearest rupee on rupees 2,400 for 2.5 years at 5% per annum. For first year, principal is rupees 2,400, rate 5%, time 1 year. So interest PRT upon 100, that is rupees 120. So amount is equal to rupees 2400 plus 120, that is rupees 2520, which will become principal for the second year. For second year, principal rupees 2520, rate same 5%, time 1 year, and interest principal by rate by time upon 100, that is rupees 126. So amount for second year will be rupees 2520 plus 126, that is rupees 2646. This amount will become principal for the final half year. Why we are taking here half year? Because the time was given as 2.5. So first year, second year, that means 2 years. Now half year is left. So next timing will be for final half year. Principal rupees 2646, rate 5%, time half year, interest PRT upon 100, that is 2646 multiplied by 5 multiplied by 1/2 upon 100, which will give rupees 66.15. So amount is equal to 2646 plus 66.15, that will give rupees 2712.15. Hence, the required amount in 2.5 years is rupees 2712.15, and the compound interest will be equal to the final amount minus original principal, that is 2712.15 minus rupees 2400, which will give rupees 312.15. Now this answer will not be accepted because here it is given that we need to give answer up to nearest rupee. So we need to round this figure of 312.15 to the nearest rupee figure only. So the rounding off will be done as rupees 312. Since after the decimal we have 1 which is less than 5. Calculate the amount and the compound interest on rupees 16,000 in 3 years when the rates of interest for successive years are 10%, 14% and 15% respectively. It means for different years, for different 3 years, different rates are given. For first year 10%, for second year 14% and for third year 15%. For first year, principal rupees 16,000, rate 10%, time 1 year, and interest using the formula PRT upon 100, we get rupees 1600. Therefore, amount is equal to rupees 16,000 plus rupees 1600, that is rupees 17,600. Now this amount will act as principal for the second year. For second year, principal rupees 17,600, rate 14% as it is given in the question. For second year, the rate is not 10%, rate is 14%. So interest will be equal to principal into rate into time upon 100, that is rupees 2,464. So amount for second year will be rupees 17,600 plus rupees 2,464, that is 20,064. This amount will act as principal for third year. So for third year, principal rupees 20,064, rate 15%, time 1 year, interest 20,064, that is principal, multiply rate 15% into time upon 100, which will give rupees 3,009.60. So amount at the end of third year will be rupees 20,064 plus 3,009.60, which will give rupees 23,073.60. So amount after 3 years, that is the final amount, will be 23,073.60, and compound interest will be equal to final amount minus initial principal, that is 16,000, which will give rupees 7,073.60. Example 4. A man lends 12,500 at 12% for the first year, at 15% for the second year, and at 18% for the third year. If the rates of interest are compounded yearly, find the difference between the compound interest for the first year and the compound interest for the third year. For first year, principal is original principal, that is rupees 12,500, rate 12%, time 1 year. So interest will be 12,500 by 12 by 1 divided by 100. That will give rupees 1,500. So amount is equal to rupees 12,500 plus rupees 1,500, which will give rupees 14,000. Now this amount 14,000 will act as principal for the second year. So for second year, principal is rupees 14,000, rate 15%, time 1 year, and interest 14,000, that is the principal, by rate 15% into time upon 100, that is amount rupees 14,000 plus rupees 2,100 is equal to rupees 16,100. Now this amount will act as principal for the third year. So for third year, principal is rupees 16,100, rate 18%, time 1 year, and interest PRT upon 100, which will give 2,898. So amount at the end of third year will be rupees 16,100 plus rupees 2,898. That will give rupees 18,998. Now the question was, find the difference between compound interest for the first year and the compound interest for the third year. So we need the compound interest specifically for the first year, that is rupees 1,500, and for the third year, that is rupees 2,898. So we find the difference between the compound interest of the third year, that is 2,898, minus the compound interest for the first year, that is rupees 1,500, which will give rupees 1,398. Now the rate is compounded half yearly. Govind borrows rupees 18,000 at 10% simple interest. He immediately invests the money borrowed at 10% compound interest, compounded half yearly. How much does Govind gain in 1 year? So he is borrowing the amount of rupees 18,000 at simple interest and then investing it on the compound interest. So for simple interest, principal is rupees 18,000, rate is 10%, time is 1 year. So Govind has to pay the simple interest of rupees 1,800 by the formula PRT upon 100. Now, since he is investing that amount to somebody else at compound interest, but it is compounded half yearly. So 1 year will be divided as first half and second half. So we will solve it. For first half year, principal is rupees 18,000, rate 10%, time half year. So interest will be PRT upon 100, which will give rupees 900. So amount at the end of first half year will be rupees 18,000 plus rupees 900, that is rupees 18,900. Now this amount will act as principal for second half year. For second half year, principal is rupees 18,900, rate 10%, time half year. So interest will be rupees 945. Amount at the end of second half year, that is at the end of 1 year, will be rupees 18,900 plus rupees 945, which will give rupees 19,845. Now the question was, how much will he gain? So compound interest which he will get from that person to whom he is giving that amount on compound interest will be the final amount at the end of 1 year, that is rupees 19,845 minus original amount which he is giving, that is rupees 18,000. So it will give rupees 1,845. And he need to return only rupees 1,800, that is 1,800. He need to return and he will get rupees 1,845. So his profit will be rupees 1,845 minus rupees 1,800, that is rupees 45. The question based on repayment. A man borrows rupees 6,000 at 5% compound interest per annum. If he repays rupees 1,200 at the end of each year, find the amount of the loan outstanding at the beginning of the third year. So for first year, principal is rupees 6,000, rate is 5%, time 1 year. So interest which he need to pay, that is rupees 300 by the formula PRT upon 100. Amount is equal to rupees 6,000 plus rupees 300, that is rupees 6,300. Repayment, that is rupees 1,200 as it is given in the question. At the end of every year, he is repaying rupees 1,200. So here he need to pay rupees 6,300, but out of that he is paying rupees 1,200. So it will be reduced from his amount. So balance left will be equal to rupees 6,300 minus rupees 1,200, which will give rupees 5,100. Now this balance will act as principal for the second year. For second year, principal is rupees 5,100, rate 5%, time 1 year. Interest is equal to PRT upon 100, that is rupees 255. Amount is equal to rupees 5,100 plus rupees 255, which will give rupees 5,355. Now again repayment at the end of second year is rupees 1,200. So balance left will be amount which he need to pay, that is 5,355 minus repayment which he is paying, that is rupees 1,200, which will give rupees 4,155. So the amount of the loan outstanding at the beginning of the third year. At the beginning of third year means at the end of second year. At the end of second year or at the beginning of the third year, the amount left will as a loan will be rupees 4,155. A man saves rupees 3,000 every year and invests it at the end of the year at 10% compound interest. Calculate the total amount of his savings at the end of the third year. So for first year, if we consider, then he is busy in saving of amount 3,000 and he is investing at the end of the year. So for first year, if we say, there will be no interest. So amount or saving at the end of first year is rupees 3,000 which he will invest. So here no interest will be there for first year. Interest will start from second year. So for second year, this saving, which was at the end of first year, will act as principal for the second year. So principal rupees 3,000, rate 10%, time 1 year, interest PRT upon 100, that is rupees 300. So amount is equal to principal plus interest, that will give rupees 3,300. Now this is the amount of his investment. Now again, at the end of second year, he is investing 3,000 rupees. So for third year, his saving is rupees 3,000. So the principal for third year will become rupees 3,000 his saving plus rupees 3,300, which was the amount of the second year. So the total principal will be rupees 6,300. Rate 10%, time 1 year. So interest again PRT upon 100, that is rupees 630. Amount is equal to rupees 6,300 plus rupees 630, which will give rupees 6,930. So at the end of third year, saving is rupees 3,000, which he will invest again along with this amount. So at the end of third year, the amount will become rupees 6,930 plus his saving for the third year, that is rupees 3,000. So the total amount will be rupees 9,930. When the interest or amount for 2 consecutive years or a particular period of time is given. Example is, a certain sum amounts to rupees 5,292 in 2 years and rupees 5,556.60 in 3 years. That means in consecutive 2 years, the amount is given. In 2 years, the principal amounts to rupees 5,292 and in 3 years, it amounts to rupees 5,556.60. Interest being compounded annually, find the rate of interest and the original sum. So here, amount in 2 years is given rupees 5,292. Amount in 3 years is rupees 5,556.60. Now we will find difference between the amounts of 2 successive years or consecutive years. That is rupees 5,556.60 minus rupees 5,292, which will give rupees 264.60. Now, this difference between the amounts of 2 successive years will act as interest for 1 year on the previous amount, that is the amount for 2 years. Thus, rupees 264.60 is the interest of 1 year on rupees 5,292. So, rate of interest, we will use the formula 100 into I upon P into T is equal to 100 multiplied by interest, which we have got here, rupees 264.60 divided by principal, that is 5,292 multiplied by time, which is 1. Then we will get 5%. Now, first part is over, that is rate of interest. Now we will go for second part to find the original sum. So, we will use unitary method. Let the sum of money be rupees 100. Interest on it for first year. will be 5% of rupees 100, that is rupees 5, as it is given in the question. To find the rate of interest, and we have found 5% is the rate of interest, then that rate of interest we will use as interest in second part. So interest on it for 1 year is equal to 5% of rupees 100, that is rupees 5. Amount in 1 year is rupees 100 plus 5, that is 105. Similarly, amount in 2 years is equal to rupees 105 plus 5% interest on rupees 105, that is rupees 105 plus rupees 5.25, which will give amount in 2 years as rupees 110.25. Now we will relate these values using unitary method. When amount in 2 years is rupees 110.25, the sum invested was rupees 100. When the amount in 2 years is rupees 1, then the sum will be rupees 100 divided by 110.25. Now, when the amount in 2 years is rupees 5,292, which is initially given in the question itself, then sum will be rupees 100 upon 110.25, which we have calculated earlier, multiplied by 5,292. On calculation, we will get rupees 4,800. So the original sum invested is rupees 4,800. As we know, when the machines get older and older, their values depreciates. That means their cost reduces by the time. So this question is based on the depreciation of value of machine. During every financial year, the value of a machine depreciates by 12%. Find the original cost of a machine which depreciates by rupees 2,640 during the second financial year of its purchase. So we are required to find out the original cost of the machine. So let the original cost of machine be rupees 100. For first year, principal, that is the original value of the machine, rupees 100. Rate of depreciation is 12% and time is 1 year. So depreciation in the first year will be rupees 100, that is original value, multiplied by 12% by time, that is 1, which will give rupees 12. Here we are using the same formula as interest, that is PRT upon 100. Value at the end of first year will be its original value minus depreciation during the first year. That is rupees 100 minus rupees 12, which will give rupees 88. For second year, principal is rupees 88, rate 12% and time 1 year. So for second year, again we can find the depreciation, which will give principal into rate into time upon 100, that is 88 multiply 12 multiply 1 upon 100. On calculation, we will get rupees 10.56. When the depreciation in second year is rupees 10.56, which we have calculated here, then the original cost of the machine was rupees 100. So here we are going to use unitary method. Original cost is 100 when the depreciation in the second year was rupees 10.56. Now when the depreciation in second year is rupees 2,640, which is already given in the question. So original cost using unitary method will be 100 upon 10.56 multiplied by the depreciation given in the question, that is 2,640. On calculation, we will get rupees 25,000. Hence, the original cost of the machine is rupees 25,000. The time for some miscellaneous questions. Example, a sum of rupees 13,500 is invested at 16% per annum compound interest for 5 years. Calculate the interest for the first year, amount at the end of first year, and the interest for the second year correct to the nearest rupee. So we have three parts here, and they are asked for particular year, not for 2 years, not for 3 years. So here we are going to solve this question using steps. For first year, principal is rupees 13,500, rate 16% and time 1 year. So interest will be PRT upon 100, which will give rupees 2,160 on calculation. So amount for first year will be rupees 13,500, which is original principal, plus interest, that is rupees 2,160, which will give rupees 15,660. For second year, principal is rupees 15,660, which is the amount of first year. Rate 16% and time 1 year. So interest is equal to, again we will use PRT upon 100, that is 15,660 by 16 into time, that is 1 year upon 100. On calculation we will get rupees 2,505.60. Now let us check the parts which were asked. The interest for the first year. So interest for the first year is rupees 2,160. Amount at the end of the first year is rupees 15,660. And the third part is the interest for second year, but correct to the nearest rupee. So here we are getting the answer in decimal. So we will round it off up to rupees. Then here after the decimal we have 6. So this digit 5 will change to 6. So here rupees 2,506 will be the answer to the nearest rupee. Next example. Find the sum on which the difference between the simple interest and compound interest at the rate of 8% per annum compounded annually would be rupees 64 in 2 years. So we need to find out the sum invested and the difference between the simple interest and compound interest at the same rate, that is 8%, and the time 2 years is given as rupees 64. Now we can suppose let the sum be rupees x. So simple interest is equal to, using the formula PRT upon 100, principal x, rate 8%, time 2 years, which will give rupees 0.16x. Now we will solve for compound interest. For first year, principal is rupees x, rate is 8% and time 1 year. Interest, PRT upon 100, we will get 0.08x. Now amount at the end of first year will be rupees x, that is the principal, plus interest rupees 0.08x is equal to rupees 1.08x. Now this amount will become principal for the second year. So for second year, principal is rupees 1.08x. Interest will be again principal multiplied by rate multiplied time upon 100, which will give 0.0864x. So amount at the end of second year will be rupees 1.08x, that is principal, plus interest for second year 0.0864x, which will give rupees 1.1664 times of x. Now compound interest in 2 years will be the final amount in 2 years minus the original principal, that is x. So here compound interest in 2 years is equal to rupees 1.1664x minus rupees x, which was the original principal. On calculation, we will get rupees 0.1664. Now, in the question it is given the difference between the simple interest and the compound interest at the rate 8% per annum compounded annually should be rupees 64 in 2 years. So, rupees 0.1664 times of x, that is compound interest, minus simple interest rupees 0.16x is equal to rupees 64. On solving this equation, we will get x is equal to rupees 64 divided by 0.0064, which will give x is equal to rupees 10,000. Hence, the sum is rupees 10,000. So dear students, I hope you have understood the concept of simple interest and compound interest. So I am leaving some assignment work for you. It consists of 12 questions and all the questions are based on the same type of questions which are explained earlier. So hope you will be able to solve them. Thank you, children. Stay home, stay safe, but study well.